When a man stops touching himself, he becomes untouchable. I couldn't even make it through that particular quote with a straight face, but it is my quote, one I am very, very proud of, and I don't think it's too far from the truth. Now, I wanted to draw attention in this particular video, unscripted, so show your love, between why having more jurisdiction, more agency, more control over one's sexual energy actually draws parallels to this maybe esoteric idea of manifestation, of bringing things into your reality, and why this phenomenon happens more quickly to those who advocate things like celibacy in lieu of sexually licentious behavior, morally degrading, debilitating prostitution, promiscuity, the other P word that upsets the algorithm. But you understand the point I'm trying to make. Now, I'm going to try and make my way through this particular area rather not too circuitously, but with fairly good structure. So the first point I want to make up is, and this is the simple one, the easiest one to understand, is the reason why you will be able to bring things into your reality more quickly with the help of abstinence is because you are better on a energetic vibrancy of the things that you want to bring into your life. Okay, so I've made this point many times, and forgive me if you're a fan of mine and you've heard this point before, but I disregard that last part. This is one of the most essential parts of the theory behind masculine theory, is that you don't get what you want, you get what you are. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. It is. If you want to attract something into your life, don't chase it. Simply connect with a version of yourself which is on a vibration level consistent with that you want to bring into your life. So the reason why celibacy, abstinence, SR, whatever you want to call it, accelerates this process is that you are identifying more with the emotions and energies that are consistent with the things that you want. And that has a drastic influence on the Maya, on the 3D, on the I don't like to use that word matrix because it's become a meme, hasn't it? But we can use that word. You understand what I mean. So the emotional vibrations an individual is at, and it doesn't just need to be addiction to some of those P words that I mentioned before, but it began any morally degrading material. It could be weed, it could be heroin, it could be, whatever your yum is, right? It typically puts you in a vibrancy level that is shame, guilt, anger, and lust, okay? Shame in particular is the lowest emotion a human being can experience. There is barely any consciousness in a vibration of shame. I like to draw parallels to these emotional states as a emotional or mental or spiritual hell. You're in hell. If you're watching this video and you find yourself identifying the past week with these emotions, you've been living in hell. You've been living in hell. There is nothing worse, in my particular opinion, than being constantly in that lower state of shame, apathy, guilt, fear, anger, lust, all these things. Okay. Now, whatever vice is ailing you right now, when you begin to dissect that parasite from your life, let's stick with the sexual licentiousness at the moment. When you start to dissect that from your life, you start to climb up the ladder. That is less and less shame you are experiencing in, let's say, 24 hours. 24 hours of the day, you get through 24 hours of the day without relapsing, right? That isn't just a win on the level of your neurochemistry, right? Your receptors healing in the gray matter because you're not blasting them with dopamine, with abnormal amounts of dopamine, by the way. But it's also a period in which your energetic state has not dipped lower than, let's say, courage, depending on, we're speaking generally here, but depending on the other experiences that you're having in the day, okay? Now, courage oscillates at 2, and the scale I'm referencing here is all David Hawkins. Levels of energy by Frederick Dodson. You could do Sidonia methods. This is a universal scale that denotes energy in motion, which is emotion. I'm not talking about something that hasn't got any proof behind it, right? These are real energetic states that a human being goes through in the day. And the more and more that you can mitigate the lower emotional hell ones, and you can go, as long as you're north of 200, which is courage, generally you will find luck starts happening more frequently in your life. Serendipity, these funny little coincidences in your life. Oh, that's interesting how, I lost my ticket for the train, but a stranger had a spare one. Things like that. Because you attract what you are. You don't get what you want, you get what you are, okay? In the manifestational realms, one of the key sentiments behind individuals like Neville Goddard and their teaching is feeling is the secret. Feeling is the secret. And this brings me to the second point, and I'm going to merge another point with this. So points 2 and 3 is that the way you create reality is through consciousness, okay? Consciousness precedes everything. For you to even see this video, right? My consciousness first had to have a conception of it, right? And now it's here, collapsing into 3D matter. But don't even take this video. Take something even more, even more typical. Let's say the chair you're sat in, right? Somebody first had to have an idea, and behind that idea is the consciousness flowing that organizes that idea. Everything that you see around you is like a skin. It's a skin. And in order for that skin to present itself, there is this unmanifest that sits below the skin. That's consciousness. Without that unmanifest, without the intention, things can't collapse into matter. Okay. And this requires energy. This requires energy, and you can start to see how these links are coalescing here in a rather logical and quite structured way, to my credit here. So we move on to the next points 2 and 3, which is, okay, feeling is the secret. Feeling is actually the energetic charge, your heart plexus. Okay, this is what collapses things into physical matter. How it collapses into physical matter is orientated by your mind. Okay, so there's a dualism here. There's a duality. The masculine is the mind. The masculine is order. Okay, so when they talk about affirmations, that comes from a masculine principle. This notion that perhaps I want to get in contact with somebody that I haven't spoken to in 5 years. First becomes the order. You need to be specific. Which individual do I want to come in contact with? How does it happen? Maybe they send you a text. Maybe they call you. Maybe you bump into them in the street. Yeah. What do they say? So there's structure here. There's foresight here. This is you using your palantir. This is why I liken the mind to a palantir, like a wizard's palantir. And, it's interesting. You mentioned the wizard there. The king, warrior, magician archetype. The magician archetype is that of using mind, of using foresight, is using order, is using strategy, right? Is articulating through the manifest what the skin is resembling to be. Now, the big problem most people have is people usually have a vague idea of what they want, and that's sometimes okay. I think specifics are always good, and also focus. Some people will have, they'll go in state akin to sleep on Thursday, and on Friday they want to imagine something completely different. No faith to the schema that they've created with their mind. And this might take, a month, 2 months. I just did a video about a couple of weeks ago, maybe you saw it, about a gentleman who manifested $250,000, but it took 5 months, constantly revising and adding specifics to that foresight, to the palantir, okay? Now, that isn't actually the major problem. Well, the consistency is a major problem, but the major problem is actually what gives that vision, that mental schema, life. What starts to collapse it from a thought form, which is nebulous, it's difficult to describe, it's ineffable, it's floating in the ether of the manifest. Again, it's got some structure there, but it doesn't have any weight behind it that you can see in physical reality. And what gives it weight, What starts to collapse it is how you feel about it. Okay. So the mind creates, it's like the mind is the blueprint, right? Let's say you're building a house. The mind creates a blueprint, right? We're going to have 3 floors in the house. We're going to have a door. We're going to have a balcony here. This is going to be the kids' room. How many bedrooms? These many toilets. This is what it's going to look like, okay? But the blueprint is nothing without the materials, right? And the energy to put the materials in the correct position. That's where you use your heart. But if your heart has been corrupted by licentiousness, if your heart has been corrupted, if it is impure, if it has no energy, if your heart is in shame, if your heart is in apathy and is not in love, I know that might sound Disney, but I mean any emotion that is higher than courage, you have no energy there. You have no spark there. There's no, you're emotionally dead here. Your heart is closed. Allah has sealed your heart, right? So this creates a magnetic pull. So this is the positive, this is the negative. It is a magnet. If you've got strong intention, strong positive pole, right? I know exactly what I want. I know how to get it. And then when it's bouncing off the energy in my heart, oh, there's no charge there. Your auric field is small. It's exactly like a magnet. These two amplify. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about this, another Joe, in his book, Becoming Supernatural. And all the research he's done behind this is about mind and heart working in coherence. In coherence. And to be coherent, you must feel what is consistent with the vision that you have inside your mind. And if you're sexually licentious, impure, propagating all of this degeneracy, constantly in the emotion of shame, it's not going to work for you. Now, the esoteric or more occult aspect to this is also recognizing that Shakti energy life force sits at the lowest point of your torso, which is going to have an influence on your aura as well. Okay? If we talk about the principle of life, life attracts like attracts like. If you are empty of life, if you are dead, you have no charge equally. The same as the heart. Now, again, this is just me leading with my intuition here, but I see this having another visceral effect on your capabilities to bring things into reality. If you're it's the simplest principle, because I don't want to overcomplicate the concept here. Is if you're trying to create life, but you are void of it, yeah. It comes with the intention, right? I really believe intention is a magic spell. Like a lot of people have moral qualms about certain activities. Let's say if somebody breaks into your house and you defend yourself, but you accidentally kill this person, right? But the intention there wasn't to kill, wasn't to take a life. And I see that as doing your duty, and I would call that dharma. Krishna, God, tells Arjuna this in the Bhagavad Gita. It's your dharma, it's your duty. Okay, but if you're going out and intentionally trying to take people's lives away from them, then that's morally reprehensible. In the same way, when you are a slave to your limbic system, okay, knowing that it is your duty to rise above, that you can have jurisdiction here, that you can create the life that you want, I see that as morally damning to you. It's your duty to be a creator. It's your duty to be a creator. And what you're using this principle for is not creation. The principle you're using this for is what? Your own selfish pleasure, gratification, cheap. You're cheap. Not you, speaking directly to you, but individuals who are using this cheaply are not going to be rewarded with wealth. They're going to be rewarded cheaply. Always chasing that next hit. Not just in the sexual dimension, but in life, chasing that next paycheck. Then I can go and get some fast food. Oh, now I'm next pay. Always crawling, never fully satiated with life. You want to be satiated with life. You don't want to be a beggar. You don't want to be a beggar. And the difference is the intention in which you're using this principle must be for that of being fully satiated, of creating your reality as you see fit. Because we are cut from the same cloth of the divine. If the divine is omnipresent, does he not permeate every aspect of our being? Is his divine creative qualities not imbued in our very DNA? It is. Those aren't theories, those are facts. Speak soon.